Hey, what's going on, Applied English? We're back at it with a new week of Applied English here in day 6. I hope you guys had a great 3-day weekend, especially a great Labor Day on Monday. I hope you guys were able to get some rest. I hope that if you were behind on some work in your classes, that the long weekend gave you a chance to catch up a little bit too. Speaking of catching up, if you haven't looked at today's Do First activity yet, I just want to click into that real quick. Nothing for you to submit to this very spot, but I do want to give you some directions on checking your grades in Schoology. It says right here, once you're done reading these directions, please check your Schoology gradebook by clicking Grades on the left-hand side of the course. Mine says Grade Book, but yours will say Grades. Inside of Grades, you'll see each assignment and how you scored on it thus far. A couple of symbols that you're looking for. If you see a speech bubble by it, click that speech bubble or hover over it to see my comment on that assignment. I may have left you just some pointers about how to do those types of assignments better, or I might have put like a good job or something positive. If an assignment's marked with an orange hexagon, that means that it's missing, that it's in the gradebook as a 0 and should be completed as soon as possible. It's probably wise to catch up on that missing work before you actually begin today's lesson. And of course, if you're stuck on something, please contact me. So anyways, let's go ahead and pray, and then we'll look at today's lesson agenda too. Dear Lord Jesus, thank you so much for our class. I thank you for the hard work that's been done already, for the motivation, for the inspiration that you've given my students to work hard, even in a virtual setting, even though we have not met each other yet face to face, even though virtual learning is hard and it's easy to lose hope. You've given my students strength in their minds and hearts to do their best, and I thank you for sustaining me in this hard time as well. We look forward to when we get to be back together again. We want to pray for our families and friends who may be ill or dealing with just some of the effects of this pandemic. And we want to pray that you are that you're bringing our world or making our world a little more quote unquote normal of a place every day. We love you, Jesus. We pray this all in your name. Amen. Let's look at today's agenda. So today is going to feel like a very Englishy kind of lesson. 2 objectives. One is to identify and use new vocabulary. We're going to work through our first set of vocab today, specifically in this video. In the second part of our lesson, we're going to tackle our next short story. We're just going to focus on comprehending it in today's lesson and in your next lesson as well. This will be a short story that I lead you through entirely just for practice. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. Right now, you're completing the first vocabulary set assignment. Right now, I'm actually teaching you our vocab words. The assignment itself will follow this video. So let's get right into it. We'll look more at the rest of our lesson in our next video. I don't want to waste a ton of time on that now. So first vocabulary set, you actually can't see them yet because I haven't uploaded the document for you. So I'm going to pull that up in another screen here. I forgot to do that. Short stories vocab set. All right, sorry about that little jump there. I was just letting my document load up right here. Here's what new vocabulary word sets are going to look like in Applied English. You might notice there's only 10 words right here. The goal in Applied English is not to overburden you with tons and tons and tons of vocabulary words. We'll look at 10 new words every 2 weeks. For the most part, these are words that we're going to pull from what we're reading in class anyway. And the goal is to learn these words well enough that they actually become part of your vocabulary. So these are words that we're going to learn definitions for, but we're also going to practice writing them in sentences and identifying them in what we read. So I'm going to read these words out loud. Really, our first step here is to match each word with its definition. I'll show you my process for doing that this time, and then as we move on to new vocabulary throughout the semester, you'll get some practice with these skills too. Our 10 words this time are suede, pronounced suede, frail, icebox, latch, grime, callus, compensate, lush, debris, and coup. You may notice I've given 10 definitions here along with their parts of speech. What I would encourage you to do right now is challenge yourself to do this on your own. Just pause this video real quick. See how many of these words you can match on your own. And then once you're ready, hit play again, because I'm going to walk through these on my own as well. All right, let's do this. So my process whenever I'm matching words and definitions is to see if there are any words that I know well first. I kind of like to challenge myself to see if there are words that I can match without even looking up definitions. As I look at this list of 10, the easiest one for me is icebox. I know in my head it's a word that I've seen before, it's a word that I've used before. I know that an icebox is another word for a refrigerator. So as I check through, I see the very last one, that last noun right there, another term for refrigerator, is going to be icebox. There we go. So notice right there, I was able to punch in icebox right there, right by the noun, another term for refrigerator. That allows me to kind of rule out that one for the rest of them. So I was able to get 1 out of 10 already. I think I'm going to do one more before I start looking these ones up. And let's do this by part of speech. You notice that there's only 3 parts of speech reflected here. A couple of adjectives, a bunch of nouns, and a couple of verbs. Another way that you could potentially spot vocab words early without even looking them up is knowing they're part of speech. As an example here, let's do a verb. Let's say I know that compensate, for instance, is a verb. Well, that limits my options to 3. Compensate is either to speak softly and kindly, and make a soft sound, to grab onto something, or to pay someone, or to counterbalance something. I know that this one is going to be to pay someone. There we go. For the other 8, I'm going to look them up by going back into the internet. Now, a good search term for words and their definitions is simply the word and then the word definition after it. So I'm just going to go down the line, right? Let's do Suede. Suede, definition. Now, something to note, Google does give me an immediate answer for the definition for suede right here, right? Leather with a flesh side rub to make a velvety nap. That's fine. Google has its own dictionary. Just so you guys are aware, my favorite online one is Merriam-Webster. I think that's the most thorough one. Obviously, there's dictionary.com as well, and a bunch of other dictionaries. I like Merriam-Webster, so I'm just going to go there real quick. And here I see, once again, it tells me that it is a noun, first of all. Leather with a napped surface, a fabric finished with a nap to simulate suede. So I know that it's a kind of leather. Let's find that definition. There it is. A special kind of leather with a soft surface is suede. I'm just going to go down the line with these next, right? So frail is next. I can do the same thing. I'm in Merriam-Webster already, so I'll type in frail. I'm probably going to do quite a bit of cutting in this video, just so you know, so it might be a little bit jumpy just to save some time for you. Frail I see as an adjective, easily broken or destroyed. Physically weak, easy to break is the one right there. You may notice that the definitions don't line up exactly word for word with the dictionary that you choose to use, and that's okay. You're going to choose what is closest. I'm going to give some spaces here. 4 down, 6 to go. Let's do latch next. Latch. Now, something to note with latch. Notice that latch is a verb. It's also a noun. It has 2 verb definitions as well, so you just got to be careful with multiple definitions. Latch is to lay hold with the hands or arms, or to associate oneself. Let's see if I can find one close to that. Latch. It is a verb, right? To grab onto something is latch. By the way, I should mention right now that these 10 words right here are going to be the words that we see within our first 2, or I should say our next 2 short stories. So these first 4, Suede through Latch, the ones that we've covered already, all come from Thank You Ma'am by Langston Hughes, which we'll start reading today. The other 6 come from a story called Born Worker, which we'll look at next week. So I finished half of our words, and one thing I can notice for these last 5 is now I can start looking at it definition-wise too. So another approach to vocabulary. I'm noticing that the first definition here is an adjective, having hard, dry patches of skin, hard-hearted, and uncaring. Now that I've eliminated some words, I can see if I can match this to another one. This can either be grime, callous, lush, debris, or coup. Let's say I don't know that yet, so I just got to keep going down the line. Let's see if grime matches it. Grime. No, grime is a noun, but maybe I can do that right now. Grime is soot, smut, or dirt adhering to a surface. It's a noun. The remains of something broken down or destroyed, probably not. Dirt, dust, and other filthy substances stuck to a surface, that is grime. 6 down, 4 to go. Callus is next. Let's see if callous matches that first definition. Callous, adjective, being hardened or thickened or feeling no emotion, that's got to be it. There it is. One thing to note right here, notice that callous has 2 definitions. For this vocabulary set, The first definition that I listed for you is the one that we'll see inside of our story. The second definition is a common one as well, one that you should know, but it doesn't necessarily match the direct definition from the story we'll be reading it in. Only 3 to go, and what do I have left? Lush, debris, and coup. 1 noun, 1 verb, 1 adjective. So the remains of something broken down or destroyed. Now, of these 3, I think I can eliminate coup, right? Coup, that just does not seem right for that one, right? So it's either debris or lush. Let's look it up. Let's look up lush. No, lush is an adjective. So what that leaves left, logically, is that our noun has to be debris. Lush is an adjective. Notice that I'm using parts of speech to rule things out right now. So lush means full of healthy plant life or productive. Debris is the remains of something broken down or destroyed, and all that's left for me is coo. To speak softly and kindly, or to make a soft sound, is to coo. So notice I've matched each of the 10 words with its definition right here. I can use that as a guide for myself. Or I can use that as a guide for myself as I start studying for vocab. The second activity here is to use each word correctly in its own complete sentence. So that's why I wanted to be able to give you parts of speech, like noun here, along with its definition, and now I can start piecing sentences together. I should note here, I am going to quiz you over these vocab words at the end of next week. It's probably going to be just an open note, take-home sort of quiz with these short weeks that we're working with here. But know that this is your best study material that you'll be able to use moving forward after you write your sentences. As we finish off this part of the video, we're going to do 3 sentences together just to get some practice with this, and the other 7 will be ones that I want you to practice as you master these vocab words. Let's do the first one here. So suede is the first one I got to use in a complete sentence. I look at my definition. Suede is a noun. It's a special kind of leather with a soft surface. So what I'm thinking here is maybe using the phrase made out of suede. So I got to think of something that would be made out of suede and make it into a sentence. I might say something like, we'll say Mr. McGee's new shoes are made out of suede. Maybe to make it easier for yourself and for me, I can underline that. Control U is underline. And there you go. I have my sentence, right? Notice that this sentence shows that I know what suede means. I know that suede is some kind of leather. It's a soft leather, and here I prove that I know what that means, right? I know that suede is something that you would use to make a nice pair of new shoes. Let's do frail as well. So frail, I gotta look it up. Frail, an adjective, physically weak or easy to break. So it sounds like I can use this to describe a person or an object. Maybe I'll describe an object with it, right? My dad told me to be careful with the Christmas ornaments because they are frail. There you go. Once again, I showed that I know what frail means because Christmas ornaments are things that are very easy to break. They're not very strong by themselves. Let's do a verb as well. So icebox is another noun. I want to show that I know how to use a verb as well. Notice suede I used as a noun. It's an object in this case. Frail, notice I used as an adjective. It's describing the Christmas ornaments. We're going to cover parts of speech more in depth in about a month here. But for now, I just want to be able to show you how to use them. Latch is the first verb on our list. So let's look up that definition. Latch means to grab onto something. With verbs, I can play around with tense as well. So I can use latch, I can use latches, I can use latched, I can use will latch. I can decide on that. I might say something like, the monkey latched onto is one word, my back and would not let go. Exclamation point to end that one, right? That's telling me that the monkey grabbed onto my back tightly and would not let go. So those 3 sentences are there for you as examples. There are 7 more to go, so icebox and then the remaining ones on the next page. What I want you to do is to do the same thing that I just did. So I want to be able to see that you can use your own sentences for these other 7 words, so practice using these in sentences. As always, if there's something that's really got you stuck, don't be afraid to send me a message or hit me up in Teams, and I can kind of point you in the right direction on using these words on your own.